Hi, Sarah. Hi, James. Hi, Ginger. Hi, Virginia.
Hello.
Just want to check my mic, make sure you guys can hear me.
Yes, you bet. Which number again?
I can hear you, Virginia. Ginger, you might want to go out and come back in again. Sometimes that fixes it. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Wally.
There we go. Hi there.
Hello. Ginger, you're having trouble connecting. You might want to try to connect by phone instead of by video. See if that works. I'm sorry, sometimes the technology is just challenging. Hi, Derek.
Hello.
Hi, Chad. Hi, Lucy.
Hello.
Hi, Joy.
Hello.
Before.
Ginger, we can see you. Can you hear us?
Oh, you can see me? She can see me.
Yep,
Okay.
and hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now? She can hear me,
Yep.
Chad. Okay, thank you, Chad. Okay, bye.
Whatever you did, it worked. So it's 3 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to House Bill 2420 Work Group. Today, just to kick off the meeting, a few quick reminders. We have ground rules for this group. They are: let the facilitator facilitate, share the air, participate and engage, use the parking lot, ask questions, listen to understand, use the raise hand function to speak, use the chat to share links, not for ongoing commentary, and only work group members may speak or post in the chat. And a reminder that we always send out meeting notes within 2 weeks. We can do a quick round of introductions, and then we're going to get right into the panel hearing from our county work group members. Let me see, I'm going to go in the order of, hi Bev, I see you, and your name is at the beginning of the alphabet. So we have Bev and then Chad and then Lucy to introduce themselves. Bev, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Beverly LaFollette with Burns Mortuary in Pendleton.
Thank you. Chad and then Lucy and then Ginger.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chad Dresselhaus, Executive Director of the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board.
Thank you. Lucy, then Ginger, then Joy.
I'm Lucy Gibson, and I'm a federal revenue specialist with Oregon Department of Human Services Child Welfare.
Thank you. Ginger, then Joy, then Derek.
Hi, my name's Ginger. I'm the lead deputy registrar for Jackson County and Medford.
Joy, then Derek.
Hi, I'm Joy Goodwin, and I work for Douglas County Clerk's Office, and I am the Douglas County Vital Records Registrar.
Thank
I'm
you.
Derek Patterson, and I'm the liaison to the counties for the State Vital Records Office.
Thank you. Shauna, then Paula, then Virginia.
Shauna Peterson. I'm an attorney in private practice with a focus on estate planning in Ontario, Oregon.
Thank you. Paula.
I'm Paula Sauls with Clackamas County Public Health. I'm the office supervisor and I oversee the Vital Records program.
Thank you. Virginia.
Virginia Lopez. I'm the registrar in Hardin County.
Okay. Shauna, I don't think we got you yet.
Yep, we just got me. I'm the attorney in Ontario.
Right, sorry.
That's fine.
Did I miss anybody else who's on the work group?
Yep.
Wally Orderman.
Wally,
Oh, sorry, Walt.
That's
go
all right.
ahead, Wally.
I'm a W. I'm at the end of the line. Wally Orderman, Oregon Funeral Directors Association.
Thank you.
And
Sorry.
Jennifer
And
Woodward, Center for Health Statistics, State Registrar.
That's my poor scrolling. I didn't scroll
That's
to the
okay. No problem. Thanks, Alana.
apologies. Anybody else who's on the work group who hasn't had a chance to introduce themselves?
Sarah Reynolds, the office manager at Macy and Son in McMinnville Funeral Home.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, I'm alphabetically challenged today. Okay, so what we're going to spend most of our time on today is hearing from the county representatives, and they received 4 questions that everybody knows, and these were also in the agenda, so these aren't a surprise to anyone. And what I'm going to do is ask each of the county representatives to answer each of the questions So everybody will answer question 1, and then everybody will answer question 2, and then everybody will answer question 3, and everybody will answer question 4. We do have one other county representative. Hael is on the road and she wasn't sure if she was going to have cell service. So she sent me a written version of her responses so I can read them. And she will try and join when she can get a cell signal. So can we, can I see who from the county representatives is willing to go first, and we'll just keep that order through the session. I'm looking for Ginger. You're willing to go first, and then who's willing to go next? Joy, are you willing to go next? Joy is willing to go next, and then Paula, are you willing to go after Joy? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I'm missing somebody. There's another county representative. Virginia, are you willing to go after Paula?
Yes.
Okay, and then I will read Hael's comments after everybody's gone. So Ginger, that means I didn't forget anybody else, right? Everybody's accounted for. Okay, so then Ginger's going to go first and respond to this first question, which is, what does a typical day look like in your vital records work? What percentage of your day is spent doing vital records work? So Ginger, over to you.
Okay, so a typical day starts with fulfilling any faxed or dropped off work orders from the 12 or more funeral homes that request death certificates. And that's usually throughout the day, several times a day. I'll get funeral homes dropping them off and picking up orders from the county window. I also process birth certificate orders for families who walk in, as well as any orders that have been mailed or emailed to me. I am also a notary and notarize documents related to vital records concerns. I'm responsible for the Goodwill vouchers, issuing those to different department service coordinators. They email me on behalf of their clients. Jackson County also has a vital records. We do dog licensing. I receive monies and order forms from employees for personal copies when they do their faxes. I direct the public to various sites in the building if need be, take phone calls all day. I have my Relias training that I need to do monthly or every couple of months, and then regular check-ins with my supervisor. I'd say a percentage of my day is spent, 85% of it's with vital records. Probably 15% is the Goodwill vouchers, notary, dog licensing, employee cupping, visitors training. So that's about my day.
That's great. Thanks so much, Ginger. Joy, would you be willing to go next?
Yes. So my typical day doesn't include vital records anymore. I actually have somebody that does that for me. She spends probably only a quarter of the day doing it, and then she does other things in the office. What I do with vital records now is I oversee all the vital records, and I do the billing, monthly billing, and stuff like that.
Thank you. Paula?
So kind of similar to Joy, I don't process records. I oversee the program. I do it occasionally though, when we have people out of the office, more than one or two. So I have one person for death certificates, and that's what she does 100% of the time. With that said, for the 4 days a week, she's absent quite a bit. So I have another half day of another person process when she's absent. So we kind of, process every day. There's no interruption. They do the billing as well. And then I have another person, which is a receptionist, and she does birth certificates, and she's a notary. I'm a notary as well, so I'm called for, affidavit of paternities or something that I need to notarize. She does also, office supply ordering, so her day is filled with other responsibilities through the day. But yeah, every day we're a big county, so we do process a lot of vital records, and we just do birth and death. We don't do marriage or anything like that.
Thanks, Paula. Virginia?
Okay, so I process most of the death certificates, birth certificates, walk-ins. We have for people that are trained to do them. So there's always someone to do the birth certificates or death certificates. We're not a big county, so I would say sometimes it just depends on the day. It can be 15 minutes, just making sure that the death certificates are ready to be printed, or just looking them up, to an hour a day. So we don't have that kind of volume.
Thanks, Virginia. And Hayel said, a typical day in vital records in Malheur County is sporadic. We don't know when we'll have a death certificate dropped off or an order to fulfill. A typical visit for a death certificate is less than 5 minutes when dropping off or picking up a death certificate. We average about 5 to 6 death certificates a week, 10 to 12 visits a week, and we average about 30 minutes to fulfill an order for a death certificate. For birth certificates, we're able to schedule appointments, and those visits take 30 minutes. 40% of our day is spent doing vital records work, 5 hours a week checking for new deaths, 1 to 2 hours for reports, and the rest of the time is for birth certificate appointments. So question 2 is what's going well in your vital records work, and we'll start again with Ginger.
Well, the window I'm at allows me to interface with the public, which is enjoyable. I do have a great working relationship with all of the funeral homes. I've been working with them here for around 5 years now. We have a very efficient process that works smoothly and allows me to provide death certificates in a timely manner for the families that they're serving. I'm pleased with the support that I have from them. I can email and get responses back and forth. I also feel the same with working with the state. If there's something I'm stumped on and I don't have the information at my fingers, I can email and usually get some response that is very helpful because I can't answer it at that moment that someone's here. So those are the things that go really well. It's that interaction with the group of people that I work with and for.
Thanks, Ginger. Joy, what about for you? What's going well with your vital records work?
Well, I agree with Ginger. It's a lot of the people are good people to work with, and Derek especially is very responsive whenever we have a problem, and he gets right back to us. And that's about it.
Thanks. Paula, what about for you? What's going well with your vital records work?
Yeah, I have to piggyback on that one. We have a good relationship with the state. I hope so. I know the times I reach out to them, it's just been great. Then seeing a lot of babies in the office is cute. And it's kind of enjoyable. And yeah, having the right amount of people to process, so we're never behind. We process right away for funeral homes and birth certificates for family when they come. The other thing that is going well is now that we're using the online ordering. It's kind of still new, but it's working well. And we're very pleased and happy how it's kind of going through the process of also becoming, paperless. So yeah, it's been good.
Thanks, Paula. Virginia, what's going well with your vital records?
Not being the only one that can process certificates is great. Having a small community and kind of like being able just to talk to people if there's any issues or concerns, that's going well. The relationship that we have with the funeral home and with the state, I think, is good. Yeah, I think those are things that are going well.
Thanks, Virginia. Hayel says what's going well is we have same-day service. and a good community partnership with funeral homes we serve. Question 3, what's challenging in your vital records work? Ginger, we're back to you. What's challenging?
So it can be challenging when I have walk-in customers and they've got more complicated situations that they're trying to resolve. And that's usually an amendment that's should have been done years ago. But again, going back to the other question, I always get assistance from the state. And if I'm not able to satisfy that question, I always take their information and let the customer know I get back to them. So that can be a little challenging. The one that, if I'm all honest about it, is the dog licensing. It can take me longer sometimes to issue a dog license, believe it or not, than it does for me to do birth or death records. There's always some little snafu that's involved in it. And so for me, I find that challenging. There's a lot of training involved in it. And I've been doing the records for quite a while. The dog licensing has been since last August. So I'm imagining it will start getting smoother, but I have some hiccups.
Thanks, Ginger. Joy, what about for you? What's challenging in your vital records work?
Well, I don't know if it's challenging or not, but like, when people are out, I have one person that does death certificates, one person that does birth certificates. Of course, I know how to do it all, and then I have another person who knows how to do it all. So it's like last week, my death certificate person was out 3 days. My birth certificate person was out 2 days. So it's just like, it's a lot more work for me, but it's still challenging and it's good.
Thanks, Joy. Paula, what's challenging for you in your vital records work?
Absenteeism, but we have the handle, but it's still challenging. Amendments when probably the doctor section of the amendments, returning and going back to the doctor. So it takes a long time, and sometimes the family is just, calling and calling, and we don't have an answer sometimes. The 6-month cutoff, probably it's also, we have incidents when we're waiting for an amendment and it's just, hit the 6 months and then we need to issue a refund and, explain to parents that we can no longer issue a birth certificate, or death is usually birth. But yeah, I think those 3 probably are the mayor that I would see.
Thanks. Virginia, what's challenging in your vital records work?
I think at the moment it's not having a local ME is creating a lag in our process. And then not having everyone being electronic, it creates another lag when you have to wait for all that to process. I think those are the 2 biggest things, and the 6-month waiting period also.
Thanks, Virginia. Hayel said, what's challenging in our vital records work is having to turn families away after 6 months from the date of the event. Turn families away because they live in another county or the event happened in another county. We can't do cross-jurisdictional services. Okay, and then the last, we're just whipping through this. The last question is, what's next for your county in terms of vital records work? Ginger, we're back to you.
Don't really see any major changes here for vital records. I suppose if the workload were to increase due to the state changing the county's criteria, and as far as increasing the timeline, which would be really helpful in issuing birth and death records, then we might need to end up hiring a part-time assistant to help with that workload, especially once the dog tags take off as well. So there may be some changes in personnel in the future.
Thanks, Ginger. Joy, what about for you? What's next in your work?
I don't really see any changes here either. Like Ginger said, if you increase the county's responsibilities as far as the timeline and being able to issue other counties certificates, it might increase for us, but that's about it.
Thanks, Joy. Paula, what's next for you?
sorry, my mouse. So kind of, we've been doing all these changes. It's been big. And about the online portal, the company that we're working with will create hopefully soon a funeral homes portal where they can order. Like right now, starting April 1st, funeral homes will order through the portal, like that the way that they will order is like they were family members, not that they have to select family members. There's an option for funeral homes, but the steps are similar. But once they have the portal, probably they can save the credit card number and they can, put several orders at once. So we really don't know how will that look like, but I've been waiting for like a year to have that completed on their end. Yeah, hopefully this year. I don't know. Timelines are usually huge. And also, yeah, if the House bill passes, then probably our workload will increase a lot, and then we'll need to hire more people.
Thanks, Paula. Virginia, what's next for your work?
I am not sure if there is changes, like we have to figure out how to fund someone to help extra. So that's always fun to try to find funding. But other than that, I don't see any major changes for us.
Thank you. Hayel said our vital records team wants to increase. I think it sounds like they want to do more. So we still have plenty of time in our meeting. I want to ask Ginger and Joy and Paula and Virginia, are there other things about your work, because the goal of today's meeting is to really understand how this work is happening in the counties. Are there other things about your work that we haven't heard about, that we haven't talked about? Any of you willing to comment more about kind of what the work is like or what you're focused on?
I would say to the point that the hybrids and the amount of carbon footprint, I would say that's a challenge because it's ongoing. And again, with the MEs, I've had to refuse death certificates because they're doing whiteout on them. It's like an art project. So it's challenging in that regard. And I find that to be probably the most steep incline. I would love it if the doctors could just get on board with electronic, less mistakes, less traffic, all the way around. To me, that's just it's incomprehensible to me why a doctor wouldn't want to do that to begin with, just to make it easier on themselves as well. So that for me is like the pinnacle of all of this, I would say.
So Ginger, is it the rework, having to go back, having to correct? Is that the biggest?
Yes, and the funeral, the runner, they're coming several times a day, and if I look at that hybrid, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. The doctor didn't sign it. They didn't put the time of death. And the more I do so many in a day, so the more they're doing, the more mistakes. We're just humans. Things are going to happen. So and those are always on the hybrids as they come in. Now, granted, I've had it's a huge order, 10 long and 10 short. And the gentleman and the family got a street name misspelled. So I had to reissue those. It was electronic, but, amendments, they're going to happen. But with the hybrids, especially, there is a lot of, nope, sorry, I can't take it. Okay, I'll bring it back. Oh, whoops, they forgot, back and forth.
So would you be willing to say what you mean by the hybrids?
Oh, I'm sorry. So the hybrids are also called the drop to paper. It's when the doctor needs a wet signature on it. It's the funeral homes does a portion of the death certificate through overs. There's a back side that I don't know the piece to, but it's a piece of paper that they end up printing that they take to the doctor or the ME who does a physical wet signature, writes in the time of death and the cause of death. And then they bring that to me with an order form. And then that's processed. And then I Otherwise, it's just an order form and I can do it all through overs. But this requires me scanning in the long form, actually having to put a piece of white paper over the bottom half so I can make a short form. It's really kind of archaic, actually.
Yeah.
Did that help in the explanation for you?
Yeah, it's great to really understand kind of what are all the twists and turns you have to go through. Yeah. Paula?
Yeah, and it's well known, doctor's handwriting is just really illegible. So not that I'm a doctor and I want to understand every reason of the cause of death, but like sometimes it's just you cannot read at all. And the whiteouts, and it's funny that she mentioned like it's like a artwork because you need to get creative. Yeah, we need a typewriter still, and it looks horrible and very unprofessional to handle somebody death certificate that looks like that. It's just like it's weird. It looks awful sometimes.
So are you saying that sometimes you're having to typewrite in something on a
Yeah,
form?
because it's paper, so if there's a mistake and then you send, an affidavit to correct that error. So once it comes back, signed by the doctor, if it was the doctor mistake, or the funeral home, if it was their part, and then we correct it by, use the whiteout, go to the typewriter, and yeah, everybody that walks by our office is just like, what in the world are you doing with a typewriter? But yeah, and it's just the result, it's just not, yeah, it's kind of, we got used to use the typewriter. It's just more like how it just looks awful to, giving a family something that it looks all corrected, and then you write notes that this was incorrect and that was incorrect, and the doctor's handwriting that is just awful. So it's and yeah, it's bad sometimes, not always, but it's quite a few, I would say. So yeah, making them, enforce them to use an electronic version will be great. I know the percentage keeps, getting lower, but still quite a bit.
Yeah, wow. Ginger, I see your hand.
Yes, to what you were saying, it's interesting too. I've figured out a way to do where I white out the hybrid and scan it in, and then I have a tool that I can use and actually type in the information. And then it's an art project. You cut and paste it, and then I tape it onto the hybrid. It looks better. I used to have a gargantuan old typewriter, and that too wasn't looking as professional as I wanted it to be. I mean, there's been an evolution of how to do the hybrids, and what you say about the doctors, I mean, my gosh, if I was a family member and I had to see some of that, it would break my heart, really, because it's like these are people that you just would hope to think that the doctor would be a little bit more conscientious of what he's doing or they're doing when they're writing up the death certificates, So.
Thanks. Joy, anything you want to add in terms of what the work's like for you?
As far as our hybrids, I think most of our errors are on the funeral home. They're mistyping a name or something. That's most of the errors that we see here.
And do you end up, Joy, with a lot of rework or having to go back what Ginger and Paolo were talking about?
We don't have a lot of amendments. We do have, occasionally. I mean, we do get a lot of hybrids still. One day last week, I had 7 hybrids. But for our county, that's a lot.
Yeah. Virginia, what about for you? Are there other things about your work that you could comment about?
Live births for me, the back and forth with the family is kind of hard sometimes because I don't know how to help them. But by calling the state, having more clarification as to how to make it easier for them when they have a live birth would be great. We don't get many, but it's long enough that you forget what you did for one person. to do it again for the next. So just having like clear steps or clear paths for the person that had TB to know what they're supposed to do when. And I have this one person come back at least 20 times in one day because they weren't able to get what they needed for their live birth. So that's something for me that I don't think it's okay.
Yeah, it sounds like the person had to keep coming back to the office. Is that what you mean?
Yes, because yeah, the paperwork that they were requiring, like she'd fill it out, email it back, get a response. It wasn't what they wanted, so it was just a back and forth. He finally came into the office and said, "I don't know what they want," and I'm like, "I don't either, but let's find out." But it's just very frustrating when you only have a certain amount of time to do it, and it gets more complicated the longer you wait.
Yeah, and you were trying to help them figure it out. Yeah. Paula, you were talking a little bit about kind of your transition and your hope for the coming year, and what would you be willing to talk some more about that? Like, what are you aiming at, and where are you in the process?
Yeah, when we signed a contract with Premedium, well, before signing the contract, they said that they were developing a portal for funeral homes. So that way they're ordering and paying for the death certificates will be easier, because the families have to, they just place one order. So it's just like one by one. And also they use, well, Derek, by the way, it's signed the amendment. So probably soon we'll be using the vital something. It's not vital check, but it's vital something. So they can double check their identity. So they are going to overpass that for funeral homes, but the payment and the ordering is in whatever is already done and the families are using. So what we're hoping is that the funeral homes have a different portal, which it will be easier for them than using the regular that we're using now. So it's been a while. They told me 6 months and a year, and I keep asking. There's still not a date. But they said the same. They're just, developing that. So whenever it's done, just I'm just thinking of, it's better customer service for funeral homes that, they don't have to do one by one, or I don't know how it will look like, to be honest. I'm just hoping it's more user friendly and fast for them. That's it.
Thank you. I want to open it up to all the work group members now. If you have questions for the county representatives, this would be the moment. Wally, I see your hand.
There was a remark made that if the House bill passes, if the House bill passes, that the workload would increase. And I'm wondering if maybe somebody could shed some light on that, remind me why that's the case.
Who wants to take it?
Can I chime in on this one, Alana?
Yeah, go ahead.
We need to understand that the House Bill 2420 did pass, and House Bill 2420 passed with this. The passage of the bill is assigning a work group. So right now there is no other legislation. The House Bill 2420 is this. What we're doing now is this work group to look at equitable fees and equitable access to fees and records, and this work group coming up with options to prepare a report to go to the legislature. So it's I guess more of the looking at what it's going to be the result of the report and the results of this committee on this report of what the options are. So I think does that help clarify, Wally?
Yes, it does, and I understand that. I guess I'm still not clear on what an increased workload looks like as a result then of the work of this work group.
I'll let the counties answer that one.
For the counties, probably because we are not limited to the 6 months or the just Clackamas County, in my case, it will be open to any location or any date of death or birth. So we wouldn't have those limitations. So I suppose that will increase the workload because other people will be able to come and order through us instead of going to the state.
Makes total sense. Thank you.
Ginger, I see your hand.
I would agree with Paula on that because I have people daily, 6 more, that end up needing state order forms. So that traffic in itself is telling me I can't service them. And I know that if I could, that would be more time for me to, in that, as far as issuing birth records and the death certificates, not so much. Most of the time, they get them at that time. There have been some stragglers who need them like 8 years after the death, but I could see the birth certificates being much more foot traffic with that said.
Thanks, Ginger. Bev, I see your hand. Bev, do you have a question? Maybe challenging to come off mute. Don't know. Well, I'll come back to you, Bev. Other questions for the county representatives? Jennifer.
Yeah, this has been very, very informational. Thank you so much. One thing that I'm interested in a little bit more information, if you can share your fees as far as, you know, we all understand the fees that you get, but if you have any idea of how much the fees, you know, what percentage of the fees cover your vital records work, or you're getting other fees from other areas to help cover the vital records work. So maybe the question is, do you get enough vital records fees to cover the staff and the work that you do? If you're able to answer that.
We do.
Douglas County also.
I meant the fees that we collect covers the staff. We don't get any other money from the county.
Joy, for you?
Yes, our fees cover, we only have, you know, like I said, one person works like a quarter of the day and the other one does birth records when they come in, and that's maybe 10 a week.
Yeah.
So what we bring in actually covers our cost.
And Ginger, what about for you?
Well, I couldn't answer that question because a lot of that is upstairs and behind the scenes. I'm more of a person here working. I don't get that inside information. I do bring in a great amount of revenue during a day, so it's not, so I would imagine it helps pay my salary, but I don't know how that all breaks down. Yeah.
Thanks. Virginia, what about for your county?
We don't do a lot, so I wouldn't think it would cover the salary. But it's the public health service, so it's kind of gone into public health, the general fund. Yeah.
Thank you. Bev, I'm going to check and see if you can hear me and if you want to come off mute and ask your question.
Yeah, sorry, I got in a phone call, so I couldn't hop back on. So my question to the counties that I guess I would like a little clarification, maybe from the state. So when we have to order death certificates from the other counties, because the death obviously happened in that county, sometimes we have never dealt with that county before. So we try to either use the phone number that's on the page that's given, for the order forms or the fax number. There's no emails to where we can send the order forms to those counties to order those death certificates. There's also nothing to tell us, how do those counties want paid? Do they want us to mail them a check? Will they take a Visa by phone? So I think something like that would also be helpful. Every county seems to be a little bit different of how they want us to get them the order form to order these death certificates. So I guess, like, I know Paulo was talking about a portal. I think Multnomah County does a portal. So every county, not every county, but a lot of counties do it differently. So as a funeral home, it's a little hard to remember which county wants which way, because we used to do it the old fashioned way, put a check in the mail, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's all changed, of course, with computers. So I find that really hard for us as funeral homes, trying to figure out how to get the order in and how do they want paid.
Can I talk? So we did send letter to all funeral homes, letting them know about the changes that will start in April 1st. Until now, we accept any check, cash, or however you want to pay, credit card. But we inform the funeral homes that we have on file that, that we have the information now. A lot of emails that were sent, they are returned because funeral homes don't update us like with their information, like where to send, like some change stuff, and we are, we had their old email address, and then we have to call like, hey, does this person still work there? That's what we sent, and they will say no, and then, well, can you please update us, because we need that communication. I do understand it must be very difficult for funeral homes figuring out all the counties how they want their money or their orders to be sent. So in order to that communication to be clear and effective, it's both ways. I guess you guys need to keep us updated with your contact information.
Ginger?
So Jackson County, I get a lot of funeral homes that are outside the county where someone has passed in our county, and I'll get all sorts of things. I mean, I mailed an order form with a check. I try to deter people from emailing me. I prefer fax because if I am out, no one else can reach those orders. And so all of the funeral homes that are local to this county usually email in, and then I call for credit card payment. There's not really picky about it. Usually the ones who come to the window, it's pay as they go. Again, if I'm not here, we want to make sure that we're getting payment for the, what we've fulfilled in their order. A lot of times too, I've had funeral homes send me our county death certificate order form that we give to, citizens out on the street, and I have emailed them the funeral home order form. It would be kind of nice if they could write in their credit card information there, I suppose, but calling to me, it's a little bit more secure in that regard. And then, like I said, checks, we always get checks. And with the funeral, with that said too, I keep on file IDs of all of these different funeral home people that do order from me, so that I have it if they come back again, like, because it has happened. And then I do every 3 months a sweep, like who's still employed? Are they still running? I need this ID, I need that ID, has anything changed? And I have a spreadsheet that I keep of funeral homes email addresses, because if I'm like for this event, I have to let everybody know I'm closing. There's no one to sit in for me, that I'm going to be done for this window, just to give them, so they won't come down here. But yeah, the spreadsheet's been helpful for me, and I haven't really had a problem with payments from anyone, but I could see how that can be an obstacle in some cases.
Joy?
All the funeral homes I do on a monthly billing, so they give me their orders throughout the month, and then at the end of the month they get billed, and they seem to pay okay.
Virginia?
I do the same monthly billing, but I never thought about getting that information out to funeral homes that we don't usually work with. I guess I would be like, how could someone do that? Like, if you don't usually work with that funeral home, how can you get that information to them? Is my question.
Yeah, it seemed to be part of the challenge that Bev was bringing up too. Yeah, thank you. Other questions from the work group members for the county representatives? Derek?
So it sounds like one of the options that might be recommended is the proposal to change the 6-month or county of event limit. That seems like it comes up a bit. I'm curious how prepared counties feel to sort of weather volatility that could happen in order volume, whether, orders increase because you can do orders from other counties, or maybe for smaller counties, if your orders decrease because, you have less staff and orders go elsewhere.
Paula, Ginger, Joy, Virginia, somebody want to jump in on that one?
Can you clarify that again? I'm not quite understanding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if your amount of orders that you receive were to go, up by a lot or down by a lot, how well would your county staffing be able to adapt to that?
I would say very fluidly. It's a fluid thing. I do think that's why I was talking about maybe having to bring in a part-time person, especially since I'm doing dog tags. That is not something that this window has ever done. And there's more of that traffic is increasing since August. So that has been some discussion, but it would be a fluid thing.
Thanks. Paula?
In my case, I don't know. I think I foresee an increase, not a decrease, and we will need to hire somebody else. I have a team of 5 people, so they're not the 2 that I mentioned or 3 that I mentioned are vital records registers. We have more that we'll cover here and there. So we will maybe try to wait a little bit before hiring somebody full-time, or maybe a temp employee until we figure out, after a few months how this is looking like, and if it will be like a permanent increase of the volume, then hiring another person. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. I think it will be an increase, but I don't know how much of an increase that we will need to bring more people on board. I cannot respond to that.
Yeah. Joy?
Yeah, so here in Douglas County, we are actually cross-training people so that when somebody's out, somebody else could take their place, easily and stuff. And I don't think it would be a problem for us if our flow increased. Because like I said, we're trying to cross-train everybody in the office to actually do this type of stuff.
Virginia, what about for your county?
I think if there is an increase, we have enough people trained that we can kind of shift things. We're not that big and not that busy, so I think we'll be okay. If there's a decrease, there's plenty other work for them to do that it won't affect us much.
Thank you. We probably have time for one more question. Other questions for the county representatives? Okay. And then I want to offer to Ginger and Joy and Paula and Virginia, any last words? Anything else you want to be sure that the group understands about your work or what your vital records work is like before we wrap this part up? Ginger?
I can think of one thing, and I'm understanding your smaller counties where you did billing and such. We had done that when I first stepped into this role here, but it turned, where after, we billed monthly, and then some of the funeral homes, their cards wouldn't work, and then it would extend to 30 days out, 60 days out. So the counties put that down. That's why we now do, you pay as you go. So that has helped a great deal. It was very difficult at first. There was a lot of disgruntled, stuff about it, but now it's really smooth, and it's kind of eliminated all of those billing problems that we've had. So I find it works a lot better. And, me calling a funeral home that has just sent in an order or faxed me, it's not a problem taking it over the phone. But anyway, just that's a little side note.
Thanks, Ginger. Joy, anything else you want folks to understand about your work?
Nope, I think that's about it.
Thank you. Paula, anything else you want folks to understand or know about your work?
We still do the billing, and some, just a few funeral homes, are behind like 5 months or so. So it's kind of like, calling and making, the phone call. But yeah, it has worked in the past, but now we're changing. So, also, when we were talking about, I was talking about communication. Also, we update the website, so instructions are there. Anything that you need to know of how to order, and links and instructions you can find on the website as well.
Thank you. Virginia, anything else that would be good for people to know about your work?
I don't know. We like serving the public and being able to do over 6 months, whether it be death certificates or birth certificates. I think it's a huge thing for the public. So I think it's important, and whether our stuff goes up or down, I think as long as they're served, we'll deal with it, right?
Right. Thank you. That's a lovely comment to wrap up on. We will deal with it as long as we're serving the public. That's great. Thank you for that. So our wrap up for the meeting is just the plus delta. So the question goes like this. You've heard it before. I'll say it again. In today's meeting, the plus is what went well. The delta is what could have gone better. And I ask it this way: what went well or could have gone better, either for yourself or for the group, in terms of how we work together or the work we got done. So went well, could have gone better, yourself, the group, process or content. Any comments about how today's meeting was? Ginger.
Well, I really enjoyed hearing the processes that each county is doing, and getting a good understanding too of the size. It's kind of difficult to know that particular piece. It felt like a real round table to me, being able to hear what goes on with other counties. It's awesome.
Yes, thanks, Ginger. Jennifer?
Ditto. Just having the opportunity, the roundtable and the panel discussion was really, really helpful. I really appreciate it. And it was really great to hear from everybody. And I like the informality of it as well.
Thanks. Any other comments about today's meeting? Went well, could have gone better? Yourself, the group, process, or content?
It's a plus for me always. Yeah, I think these kind of work groups was lacking. I hear all the other programs in public health have, work groups of all of them but vital records. So it's just, I appreciate, all your ideas and opinions and that conversation. And I just, it's good. I like the mix of people that are, part of the meeting as well.
Thanks, Paula. Virginia?
And I think the content was very informative, like knowing how bigger counties have like so much to do, and we're over here like with not a lot going on, but how one decision can affect both. It's just kind of nice to see both sides.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments about how today's meeting went? I want to give a big thank you to the panel, to all that you shared, and to all of the thinking that you did beforehand, and all of the information that you shared with everybody here. Tremendously useful, super insightful, really appreciate it. And next month, we're going to be hearing from the funeral home representatives, and with similar questions, not exactly the same, but similar questions, and hope to have as rich a conversation next month as we had this month. Thank you all so much for your participation and your insight. This was wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.